Okay, I should start by saying thank you so much for taking the time out again to sit down and chat with me. Obviously, we've been here before and we've gone through your background and how you got into theatre. So my
Hmm.
first question this time is how was your Fringe 2025?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. I took my show No Good Drunk. That was my
Hmm.
show from last year, and people like yourself gave me some really nice feedback and lovely stars. So I was very happy about that.
Mm,
it was every fringe has a different sort of, I don't know, vibe or whatever, but I would say, there's no way to say it's my favorite fringe because
mhm,
every single fringe gives me certain gifts. And I'm like, oh, I just keep
mm,
collecting gifts. I'm like, so it just added on to the magic of fringe, what fringe is for me. So
mm. And I've read nothing but fantastic things online of the show. So what's the feedback been like for you?
from No Good Drunk.
Well, yes, yeah, from last
Last
year.
year's show? Okay. Last year's show really surprised a lot of people because I'm known for comedy,
Hmm.
lighthearted. I've just been doing stand-up, musical comedy and stuff for so long that when people came to see a drama about alcoholism and addiction that was
Mm,
so personal and so vulnerable about my family's,
hmm.
connection to that type of stuff, they were surprised to leave in tears.
Yeah.
Mostly the biggest thing was, of course, there was always a mom or two like going, dabbing
Yeah.
tears, but it was the men
Well.
who were like, oh my God, like bawling. I had to console grown ass men after my show almost every day because they've never heard it in a way that makes you not, and I hate to use the word sympathize, but compassionate to
Mm,
the addict, because that's what I tried to
mm,
portray in No Good Drunk is that nobody chooses addiction.
totally,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And once they're addicted, that's the whole thing. They're not in control.
Yeah.
So I tried to be very loving
Mm,
and understanding of people who have that sort of thing in their lives. And a lot of grown ass men were like, "That was my dad," and
yeah.
I've always felt anger towards him or whatever. And then they
Mm,
go, "Oh, he was a human being with a disease."
totally. Mm,
Different breed of cat there. So yeah, and overall, I mean, and the music, you know me, I'm
mm,
always music first. Now I'm like, oh, the music was so gorgeous, and
mm,
I'm so happy that my co-writer Sam Small just is so generous with his time and talent, and
mm,
we work well together. So that's
totally.
always fun to work well with people you really
Yeah.
admire. So
Mm.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
obviously, I was lucky enough to see it at its run in the Greenwich
yes,
Theatre. So
yes, you
I know
were.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. But how was
Thank
it for
you.
you? What was your experience like?
It was very cathartic.
Hmm.
Very. I always say that my heart broke a little bit every single day doing the show, and I did about 35 performances of No Good
Wow.
Drunk, and it just like, every day,
Mm.
not only a piece of my heart broke, but then a piece of my heart healed. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's the whole point of doing shows like that. So it was very draining.
Hmm.
So, normally when I bring a friend show, it's like fun. And every day I'd be like, all right, we've done the show. Let's go out and have a pint. No, I would leave Pleasance last year at Fringe and just go straight back to my place
Hmm.
and just like curl up and like covers and just sort of go, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was it depleted my energy, but
Mm.
I'm excited to bring a more lighthearted show. I mean, again, I always deal with personal, vulnerable stuff, but my new show is
Mm.
very lighthearted. Well, I think compared to No Good Drunk. So
Obviously, you mentioned
yeah.
there your new show, Fools Goldmine. So where did the idea of it come from? No.
Yeah, little self promo. Okay. The idea. Well, it was funny. I had the idea last year walking around Fringe. I was like, okay, what's my show next year going to be? That's the way I always work.
Working ahead.
I can be presenting a piece of work and then I already know what the next one is because I
Mm.
always just talk about where I am
Mm.
standing on the planet at that moment in time. They're always very real time stuff. So I got the idea last year, and I had a little bit of a conflict with when is the right time to tell a story,
Hmm.
and I saved No Good Drunk for after my mom died
Hmm.
because it was so much about her. And, she had advanced Alzheimer's, and there's no way that she could have understood like the show.
Hmm.
I don't think. But like this show, Fool's Goldmine, is really about me and my dad and our relationship to money and debt and credit cards. And I I was weary of like someone thinking that the show is me like just talking about, oh, he did it wrong, or oh, he
Mm.
made so many mistakes. No, the show is literally an homage to his success. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But in America, it's different because in America, no, like everyone in America is in debt.
Mhm.
Everyone is, but nobody talks about it because it's super embarrassing. But no other country in the world would even allow its
Mhm.
citizens to get in the kind of debt that Americans are in. They just wouldn't allow it, you know?
Mhm.
And I think it's sad to think that, like, my dad was as much of a victim as a participant
Mhm.
in the debt crisis. And, here I am at a certain age with my own family, and I'm like, oh,
Mm.
I see how it can happen. Like, a medical
Mhm. Yeah.
situation can completely take a person who's, you know,
Mhm.
rock solid, totally financially stable, and completely topple their lives.
Mm.
That's America. Yay. But, and, other circumstances that you
Mhm.
just couldn't have ever planned for or saved for could happen and just
Mm. Totally. Yeah.
upset the whole thing. So, I don't know if I answered your question, but I'm excited about Fool's Goldmine because once again, it's music first and
Mhm.
stories supplementing the music. Because when I write a song, I always like to give it context.
Mhm.
Because without I mean, it's a great song, it stands alone,
Mhm.
but when you understand the context, you go, oh,
Yeah.
now it resonates on a different level. So
Mm. You mentioned
anyway,
earlier waiting for the right time. So what makes it the right time for this year's show?
you know what? It's just that knocking at my
Mhm.
head, the knocking at the door, going, talk about it now. And I'll tell you why. I just go, my dad is 87 now. He lives in
Mhm.
South Texas. I love my father so much. Like,
Mhm.
he's my hero. I've looked up to him since the second I was born, and why now is because it's relevant to my personal life
Mhm.
right now. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to be a true artist, I have to talk
Mm.
about it, because a year from now, I mean, listen, since about 2016, 2018, every year my husband and I are just like, oh my God, what now? Like, it's
Mhm.
crazy. Like, we're, fires and this and that and
Yeah.
deaths and sickness and illness and mental health crisis and rehab. And, and we're just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, well, I better talk about this now because who knows what next year is. Well, I
Mm.
actually do. I already know what I'm going to write about next year, but that's a surprise. But there will be a Fringe show in 2026. So, or 2027. Holy shit.
Yeah. I know.
All right. Well, I got it. I just haven't written it yet. But anyway, that's
Has
neither
your
here nor
dad
there.
seen the show? Have you talked?
No.
No. Okay.
I did. I have talked to him about it, and I've told him, and my dad and I are very emotional,
Mhm.
very sensitive. That's where I learned storytelling. That's
Mhm.
where I got such a fond appreciation for certain types of music. He's from Caledonia, Mississippi, and he's always really gravitated towards soul music and the blues and
Mhm.
all this. And I kind of adopted his sort of passion for that type of
Mhm.
music, and now I write it, so it's nice and fun. Um, but my dad's hero was Elvis Presley.
Mhm.
Obviously, they both grew up in very, very, very small, modest, homes in small Mississippi towns, and they both, you know, they kind of made it
Mm.
in a way.
Yeah.
But nothing can stay the same.
Mhm. Totally.
Once you've made it, you got to keep making it,
Mm.
especially in sales. But anyway, no, my dad has not seen the show, and I don't know that, I'm writing the show about him, but it's not for him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. Mhm.
So, like, I did tell him I'm writing the show about him, and he just literally like tears,
Mm.
and I'm like, Dad, it's because I love you, and because you've taught me so many wonderful things, and I am seeing a correlation between your story and my story, and that's why
Mm.
it's relevant, and that's why I have to tell it now.
Yeah. Totally.
So,
Obviously, you
yeah.
mentioned earlier that you do always share those sort of vulnerable stories, the same as No Good Drunk and the same as Fool's Goldmine. So, what
Hmm.
is it like taking such personal and vulnerable stories to the stage? I know we had a similar chat last year, but
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
again is you're taking something that could be traumatic and sharing it with everyone.
Sure. Well, I like to do it because the first thing I want to know is, am I the only person dealing with this?
Mm,
And the minute I start talking, people are like, yep, we had that too. Or yeah, that happened to us. Or yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like
mm,
the overarching theme in America, especially Los Angeles, is everyone is broke. Okay.
mhm.
We're all broke. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care. Well, there's some people that are impervious to
Yeah.
economic crises. Yay for them. But we're not Kardashians. All right. But every one of my friends, I don't care what they do for a living, how they were living. Everyone in LA is broke.
Hmm.
And it's because the rising costs of everything from gas to food, insurance, fire claims. A lot of people lost their homes. Like
Yeah.
everyone I know is struggling financially. And no one wants to stand up there and say, we're struggling financially. But after the show, they'll go, us too, you
Hmm.
know. And I
Mm,
go, that's why I write about it, to let you know you're not alone, to let me know I'm not alone. And yeah,
mm.
yeah.
Amazing. So, obviously, during the sort of the rehearsal process for this show and the sort of directorial perspective of it, what is it like seeing a personal story take to the stage?
Well, I think it's I can't know what people are thinking or how
Mm.
they're taking it in because I'm not out
Yeah.
there, but I do know that like first of all, like the very first solo show I wrote that was very personal was Bulletproof Unicorn, and that
Hmm.
was in 2022. That was a crazy story, a true story about how my not mentally ill, addicted brother
Mm.
threatened to murder me and my kids a few years ago in Texas. Because that's what you do in Texas. Nobody has hobbies, they just have guns. Okay. Um, so and I I I don't know. It was like it was easier for me to write a show and invite all my friends than to
Mm.
go, some crazy shit just happened.
Yeah.
Come, let's have a glass of wine. I'll tell you all about it. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just write a show and you all could come and you'll
Mm.
hear the whole story. And so honestly, that's really what provoked the first one because I was like, it's easier for me to just do a show. Y'all come and we'll talk about it afterwards. Otherwise, you're just sitting in living rooms telling the wildest story that's ever occurred.
Yeah. Instead of having
And
to
I said,
share
well,
it
let's put
six or
this on the
seven
stage.
times, you're just doing one big show.
Exactly. So, anyway, and then, but Fool's Goldmine is nice. It's nice because I think a lot of people, know me a certain way, but the people that know me best, they'll say a few things about me. Oh, she's funny. She can sing, whatever.
Mm.
But I think the one thing people really know about me, well, the two things, she's weird about money
Mm.
and she craves stability more than anything else. Like I would rather have stability than Rolex.
Yeah.
And that comes straight out of my childhood. And you'll know why. You'll learn why. But stability to me is way more attractive than bling. Oh, and they'll also tell you that I'm obsessed with clean. Okay, there we go.
Fabulous. So obviously
Yeah.
you mentioned you are music first. So what did
Yeah.
that look like for the process of this show in particular?
Well, it's interesting. Okay, so I had written "Fool's Goldmine," the titular track, and I had actually put it in my show "Laughable,"
Mm.
and it kind of it sort of belonged in there, but then I was like, oh, there's so much more to say about that song, and so I always had it in the back of my mind that one of the shows would absolutely unpack
Mm.
the why behind that song, the context. But this time around, I kept finding myself writing tracks. Look, next year's show, my director's like, can you please, like, I don't know what your process is, but I always come to her with like fully formed 8 or 9 songs. And I'm like, we got to connect all these with
Mm.
a story. And she's always like, yeah, but you could add a song about this and you could add, I was like, nope, we're done with songs. Because like the way I do it is I write
Mm.
the songs with Sam Small. And Sam Small is touring right now with a band called Tyler Ballgame, who's having
Mhm.
a big moment all over Europe. And then he's also touring with a band called Man Man, and he also has his own music. So he's a genius, but he's very busy. So when he's in town, I
Mm.
have to schedule studio time with him. And his band, luckily, they always come and contribute to my albums. And so I'm very, very fortunate. So I had written a couple of songs, and I kept going, oh my God, there's a theme across all of these songs that are coming out of me, and it's money,
Mm.
whether it's lack of, or whether it's an abundance of, or an abuse of, and I was like, it's just all about money. And I was
Mm.
like, well, Okay, so when I put them all together, it really wasn't like I was writing Fool's Goldmine with all these songs in mind
Hmm.
because I have a couple songs. One's called High Society and one is called Blue Bloods. Blue Bloods Silver Spoons, that's what it's
Hmm.
called. And I love those two tracks so much. And I was like, I really would like to write an entire show about just those two tracks, but it didn't resonate with
Hmm.
me in a way that I could tell my own story using those two tracks until I found a way to fit it in. And I was like, now it works. So,
Hmm.
but I love these songs. And the funny thing is, like, the stories are pretty lighthearted and funny, but the music is always, my projection's
Hmm.
like, they're all ballads. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason they're all ballads because that's where you see the truth. Like I can tell a funny story. I can make anything funny. I don't care what happened. I don't care what happened. I can make it funny. But the music is where you see really how I'm
Hmm.
feeling
Hmm.
about it. And I don't force myself to make the music funny because I've done that. I've done musical comedy. I love it. Oh my God, there's nothing better than singing a
Hmm.
punchline and having people just, that's great. But that's not what these shows are
Hmm. Totally.
for
Totally.
me right now. The
Yeah.
next one might be, but who knows? We'll see
Hmm.
how I'm feeling next year.
Obviously, we started this interview talking about your last year's Fringe experience, but
Mhm.
spoiler alert, I know we've probably already hinted at it throughout, but you are returning to the Fringe this year.
Yay, I am.
So what was it like getting that sort of announcement, getting that sort of message that you are
It
returning?
was it's a nightmare. It was a nightmare. This year was a nightmare, and I will tell you all the nightmarish things. First of all, nothing's going to stop me from doing Fringe. I love it. It's the
Mhm.
thing that makes me feel more alive and super happy to congregate for an entire month with a bunch of artists from all over the world
Mhm.
who have offerings. Um, I love seeing my friends that I've met. I have French friends from all over the world. And so I'm always eager to do it. So
Mhm.
I always call myself, oh, I'm the French expert. You have any question about French? You call me. I know all the answers, right? Because I'm the vet now, right? So this year I pitched my show. I started pitching my show to the venues in like November and
Mhm.
December. Like honestly, I was like, boop,
Wow.
I'm coming back. Here's the new show. The script is never ready
Mhm.
for the pitch. I always have the idea. I usually have the artwork. I'll have a song or two, but it's never ready in November or December. I
Yeah.
wait, until I write it all through the spring. Well, I wasn't getting responses, and I was like, "Well,
Oh.
that's weird." Like I've worked,
Hmm.
except for Greenside. Greenside always responds. I love Greenside, and I will be at Greenside this year. But I assumed, I don't know why, but I was like, "Well, I worked with Pleasance last year. Maybe they will,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
pick me again." Then Assembly kind of kept sending me messages like, "We're still considering you. We're still considering you. Hang on." But then all of the bookers went to Adelaide for the Adelaide Fringe, and then they weren't responding because they were
Yeah.
there curating their lineups. I know that from a business standpoint. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? Greenside, you have to flat hire for the month. So they
Hmm.
do cost a little bit more, but it does come with a lot of benefits. So that's why I was holding out because I am broke. And I was like, yikes, I don't know if I can
Hmm.
do Greenside this year, right? Even though I love them. So I pitched free Fringe because I never understood how free Fringe works. And then I learned that there are two free Fringes. There's the PBH Fringe, and then there's the other free Fringe. And I was like, what? So I had to kind of learn that. So I was pitching those guys too, and no one was responding. And I'm like, you guys, I have announced that I'm coming back, but I have no venue.
Hmm.
And I was up for a grant, a very nice grant in the US, and because I didn't have a venue contract in my hands,
Yeah.
I had to pull my application,
Yeah.
which crushed me because it
Yeah.
could
I
have
can
paid for almost the
imagine.
whole damn thing. Anywho, finally I said, all right, I'm gonna give it a weekend.
Hmm.
I was back and forth with Greenside. They are such lovely people. They're like, girl, we have had an onslaught of applications this
Hmm.
year, like they've never seen before. And because word is getting out, the Greenside is a lovely place to spend your
Mhm.
fringe. They're great, all of them. And so I said, okay, well, what do you have left now? And they go, well, it's pretty, you've got slim pickings, but the smallest studio, it's like 20 seats, 25 seats. I'm like, perfect,
Mhm.
easy to sell out, right? And they were like, but it's one week is at 7 p.m. or something like that. And one week's at like 7:45 p.m. and the other one's at like 9:45 p.m. I'm like, great, I'll take it.
Mhm.
I'll just take it because I've never done a night show before. And I'm like, I'll find an audience. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty, you know what I mean? I just go out there and flyer and meet people and hey, come to my show, whatever. So once I got the contract in hand, I was quite pleased. But then 2 days later, Free Fringe got back to me going, "Here's a venue we can give you for totally free," and I'm like, ah! I was like, "But I've already signed the contract." So everything works out the way it should, I think. So it was a nightmare. Now, the other nightmare that everybody in Fringe is experiencing, I don't know if you've talked to anybody about this, is the fact that Out of Hand used to be the only place you could order your outdoor billboards.
Mm.
It's one company. The city of Edinburgh gave them the contract for years upon years upon years upon years. And so everyone's like, you have to get online at this certain hour when they release. You have to be ready. Americans are waking up at 3:45 in the morning just to get
Yeah.
a poster ordered. It's crazy. Well, then at the 11th hour, they announced, oh no, Out of Hand isn't going to be the vendor. It's going to be
Yeah.
this place called Build Hollywood. Well, Build Hollywood shit the bed. Can I say shit the bed
Yes,
on
yeah,
Rhys
coach, you
Reviews?
can.
Great. Anywho, they shit the bed because they weren't ready. They got awarded
Mm.
the contract. Their infrastructure on their website was not ready. And of course, all of the Americans are up at the crack of dawn trying to get anything ordered. Well, it was just too much traffic that came in. Clearly, they weren't prepared. And so everyone's orders pretty much got screwed up. Well, I didn't even get
Oh,
an order. So
yeah.
I was like, well, screw it. I guess I'm just going to flyer and not have outdoor boards, which is not
Mm.
the way you want to go into
No.
Fringe. But there was no way to order it. Their website crashed. So I went over to Out of Hand and I was like, "Hey, Out of Hand, are you doing anything this year?" They're like, "Yes, you can order, but it's all site specific." Well, the good news was Out of Hand was all their sites, all their locations were right by Greenside at George Street. So I was
Ah.
like, "Great." So I've got three
Yeah.
right by my venue. It's what I
Oh.
can do. And then Out of Hand and Build Hollywood are releasing their second round, which will be the last round, tomorrow and the next day. So I'll
Wow.
try again, but I've lost confidence in Build Hollywood, and I'm really, really sad that whoever's decision it was to
Hmm.
go with them did not help prepare them for the
Mm.
onslaught of traffic and orders. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much of them is to blame, or I don't know, but all
Yeah.
I'm saying is that that was a big
It was a big
hiccup.
hoo-ha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Hmm.
And obviously, on top of all that going on, though, obviously you with your return and obviously the long journey, but obviously,
Yes.
as we mentioned, I've seen nothing but great things about No Good Drunk from last year. Is there extra pressure considering how good last year was for you to return this year?
Um, Look, the only pressure I feel is for me to be satisfied with
Hmm.
my offering. Okay. How you take it, that is like
Hmm.
that's out of my control. All I can give you is the truth, as entertaining as possible. And so I don't feel pressure. No,
Mm.
I don't feel pressure. I feel excited to bring you a new story and bring you these beautiful songs. I mean, are you kidding me? Like they're so look again. I'm patting myself on the back, but it's me and Sam Small on our team, and my
Mm.
my engineer Kevin Jarvis, and like the talent that I have. There's Nigel Wilson on keys. This guy is he's a genius. Like like this is Nigel when he's recording with me. He'll be like scrolling Facebook and going, and I'm like, what? I mean, he just
Yeah.
anyway, not in the studio, but you know what I mean. I was just
Yes.
like, how are you doing that? Like he's amazing. And then a lot of times Wayne Whitaker plays bass for me, but this time around, I don't think he's on the album. Um, but and Kevin Jarvis plays the drums. I'm like, these guys are so well known
Mm.
in LA and so well respected and well all over. But like, okay, so here's the thing I'm trying to work on because I'm a unicorn at heart and I like to make magic happen. That is my
Mm.
whole purpose. I'm like, what fun thing can we concoct that will become a story that we can tell for years? Okay, like last year I brought a band from Edinburgh, Scotland called Miracle Glass Company to LA and I managed a very short Southern California tour and I brought them to my hometown of Topanga, and I was like, "These guys are amazing." I saw them in Edinburgh, and of course, it was so much work. It was so hard, but it was so joyful, and it was
Mm.
so worth all the stress because I could see how people were receiving the gift that I
Mm.
received from them, and I was like, "I just want to share the good stuff." There's so much shit in the world that you're like, when something's good,
Yeah.
you have to like go,
Yeah.
"Look at this." Anyway, all this to say. I just learned that Sam Small and his band are going to be on tour in Europe in like late July. So what I'm trying to cook up is having Sam and his band come to Edinburgh and just do a short run of shows, even if it's one night, even
Mm,
if it's two nights, even if it's in the back of the Oxford bar. I don't care. Like, I need Edinburgh to receive the gift of Sam Small's music.
mm.
It's it's otherworldly. It's amazing. And I'm like, I just want to proselytize my artist friends who are just so talented and
Mm.
wonderful and dedicated to the craft. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to concoct. Now, here's the crazy thing. One of the members of Miracle Glass Company, I don't know if you've heard of this band, but if you like rock that sounds like it came from Southern California in the 60s and 70s, check out Miracle Glass
Okay.
Company.
Mm.
These three guys are incredible. Austin, Willie, and Andy, and they're all Edinburgh locals.
Wow.
And they just happen to be the greatest rock band of all time, living in Edinburgh. Okay. Anyway, so so William Douglas is doing 5 nights at Fringe. He's never done a Fringe show before, but he's going to be at
Wow.
Leith Arches doing a Grateful Dead, not a tribute, but he's going to do 5 different shows with Grateful Dead music. I don't know, maybe you can call it a tribute, but
Yeah.
oh my God, I'll be there. Probably all 5 nights. Like, I might skip my own show to see him. No, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm like,
Mm,
oh, I know what, So I'm trying to, because William
mm.
knows Sam now, because Sam played with. But anyway, I just love connecting artists. That's one of my passions. So
Oh,
anyway,
amazing. So we are coming to
yeah.
the end of my questions, but I do have a
Okay.
couple more. So
Sure.
I know we've
Mhm.
talked about a fair bit, but how would you describe Fool's Goldmine to someone who hasn't seen it before?
Fools Goldmine is a humorous, serious, music forward solo show about debt.
Hmm.
And my tagline is I'm just a girl from a long line of credit. And basically, I talk about how I was raised in Houston, Texas in the 70s and 80s. And I was a rich kid, but we just didn't have any money.
Mm,
So I guess that would be the best description I could give you.
mm. And if people like the sound of that, where can they stay up to date with you and with the show?
Okay, so Instagram is at fools.goldmine.
Hmm.
You can also find me on Instagram at Stacie Burrows. And then the one hub of all of my information about all of my shows and all of my work is stacieburrows.com. And that's with an IE, Stacie Burrows. Yeah. And then I'll be
Fantastic.
at Greenside all month at George Street. And you'll see me out there with my broke sweatshirt, flyering, and hopefully you'll see a few of my billboards.
I do have to ask, did you have the hoodie before the show, or is that something you've bought specifically for the show?
Oh, I made it. Oh, I don't have a budget to buy anything. I made it.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I made it, and I was like, I had a different concept for my
Hmm.
promo back in November, and then it kind of morphed into this, and I kind of like this because when you see the word broke, you go, "Oh,
Yeah.
and people go, "Oh, I want one." So I might make some up for my team just to have representation around,
Oh,
but we'll see.
fantastic. So my
We'll see what I
final
can pull together. Mhm.
so my
Yeah.
final question is, what advice do you have for young performers looking to do what you do?
Oh my God. Get started today.
Mhm.
Don't wait. Build it yourself. Make mistakes. Keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't stop. If your heart is called to do this, you will not be satisfied with anything else on the planet if you don't follow your heart to this. And no, you will not make a lot of money. But you know what? At the end of your days, you're going to go, oh, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? As we were just talking, my review from Fool's Goldmine last night just released, and I got a
Ooh.
notification. Ah!
Don't worry, we're not going to do an on interview reaction.
That's all right. Shit, I don't care. Look, I'm a certain age, so I'm kind of like, I don't.
Yeah.
I do care. It means a lot to me when people come on. Yes, I'm going to read this immediately and go, yay! But, I would never let somebody's, which I've never gotten a negative
Hmm.
review, which is kind of nice. But if someone gave me a really, really negative review, it wouldn't stop me. It would make me feel a little shitty for a minute, but it wouldn't stop
Yeah.
me. It's just not for them,
Hmm.
you know.
So I
But
started by saying it, but I'll end the same way. Thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. I'll put all the links in the comments below so people can scroll down and click away. And obviously, I wish
awesome.
you the best of luck with the Edinburgh Fringe, and hopefully, I'll bump into you up there.